elections, with the ANC taking lead towards the formation of the government of national unity. The ANC has therefore lived up to its mantra, which is to say, the ANC lives, ANC leads. Committed to respecting the principles of democracy as underpinned by our constitution, there is no doubt that any material time, the constitution remains the most supreme platform for our democratic project. Since the elections, we have constituted and consolidated all the two arms of the state that are under direct impact of the elections, which is the executive and the legislature. All this been proof of the resilience of our democracy and the ANC's commitment to the Constitution. This National Executive Committee meeting will therefore take stock of all that, particularly our performance in the elections and the tasks on implementing the ANC's manifesto aimed at improving the lives of all our people. The ANC exists for the people, and this National Executive Committee meeting will be about their socio-economic interest and, of course, on how the organization can better organize itself to champion the cause of national transformation. We will therefore be focused on how to better position our structural resolutions and the ANC election manifesto. This National Executive Committee meeting also come on the heels of Government Lekgotla, and the meeting will therefore be seized on how we can support these government programs. The National Executive meeting will be followed by the Lekgotla, which will see the participation of the Alliance and other key stakeholders in the national transformation agenda. So to break it down for you, the National Executive Committee over 3 days today have started with the political overview of the President, which is a reflection of the political situation in the country and what has transpired in the recent past, including the elections. That will be followed by an in-depth analysis, research, presentation, an analysis in depth about what happened in terms of the elections on the 29th of May. That discussion, that presentation will be followed by a discussion which is characterized as how do we understand and interpret the moment. It's a political perspective. Because to us, the GNU did not fall from the sky. Besides that, there are many options politically. What has made the ANC to take the stance and the position that it has actually taken. So that perspective will be presented. Post that perspective, we'll then look at the national dialogue that is talked about. What is the national dialogue? What is the ANC view politically about the national dialogue and what we want to achieve? We'll conclude with the National Working Committee report this evening. The National Working Committee report will give a report about the work that has been done by the National Working Committee and the reflection on the developments that have led to us constituting government and the legislatures. And then tomorrow, over a period of 2 days, Friday and Saturday, it will be discussions of the National Executive Committee, reflections and discussions on all the topics that I've related to you. On Sunday at 10 o'clock, we'll start a Lekgotla, which will be attended by the deployees of the ANC in government, which will be attended by alliance partners and in government, not in government, alliance partners, COSATU, the Tripartite Alliance, the leagues, and the Mass Democratic Movement will attend the Lekgotla. The Lekgotla will start on Sunday up until Tuesday, will be concluded. We will then report to the Lekgotla the work and the decisions of the National Executive Committee in the form of this perspective. How this moment is interpreted by the National Executive Committee. We'll then look at governance, what affect the people, how and what steps we are going to take, what steps have already been taken to do what we have said we want to do in the manifesto, the cost of living, job creation, and all of that, and the expenditure in terms of the budget, what are we going to do, and so on, in terms of governance situation in the country. So we'll break into commissions on Monday and Tuesday and conclude our business on Tuesday. So that is our meeting. That will end on Tuesday. Thank you very much. When we leave this meeting, we're going to tell South Africa what we are going to do with their 6 million vote and 40%. And it has already found expression in government. And that is it. We are a leading party. We are the largest party. We are the biggest expression of the will of the people. We are not going to be engaged in polemics with Helen Zille and whoever wishes to do so. If they want to engage in that terrain, they can go on their own, but Assisi, we are not coming to engage in polemics and about who leads, who doesn't lead. The question is, can the ANC do better with the 40% and the leadership it has had in terms of safeguarding power and leading the people of South Africa and doing the right thing? The country is stable, that is the reality. Everything is on track, government is running. That's what is important for us. The reason we are meeting here is to ensure that we consolidate that power and we deepen the National Democratic Revolution. What is the National Democratic Revolution? It is redress, to continue that work within government and deliver for the people of South Africa. And that's what our government is going to do. You ask about NHI, you ask about Bella Bill. We want those things to happen and to happen as they've been signed into law. There are challenges. It wouldn't have stopped even if there was no JNU. DA and others wouldn't have stopped. And they are not going to stop. And stop being irritated by Zille every time he says he wants to see the ANC dead. That is his job. That is a job. And the DA, like all others who want to see the ANC gone, they say they eat the elephant piece by piece. But the elephant is not out, still standing. And the ANC will go down if it entertains the irritation and doesn't do what is right. And that is what is important for us. So GNU will speak in one voice in relation to government programs. There are protocols in government that ministers don't just pronounce policy and speak out of turn without processing matters. You can express your wish every day, but as long as it is not government policy, it will not be implemented. And that's what is important. This government is about redress. It's about transformation. So the deputy minister espouses a position in relation to Israel. That is government position. There's nothing wrong with that. We know that Gayton has got a position in terms of his patriotic alliance. He supports Israel. So it's not something new. So he's got to say, I'm not consulted about that. But the fundamental question is, what is government policy? Is that we are in solidarity with the Palestinian people and we recognize the Israeli state as an apartheid state. And we want this to stop. And that's what is important. And the fact that they won't see eye to eye in relation to the sport boycott, because Gayton as a minister represent a position that defends Israel, is to be expected. Nothing has changed, and it will not have changed if ever Gayton was not part of government. Anyway, he will continue to express his particular view. DA taking ANC to court over NHI, I've answered that question. They will. They are not going to stop. in anything. The DA says they don't want deployment, and they practice it. And then they do all sorts of things, but they don't call it deployment, like us. So we're in court with them around those particular issues. So like I've explained before, and we're still explaining now, GNU is not a melting pot of political parties ceasing to be who they are and what they represent. The contradictions will be there, as they would have been even within the broader situation of a government led by the ANC, wholly, overwhelmingly. Our majority has been affected, so we will not maneuver and do things like we used to do before. The opposition will try to get to us in whatever way they can to try their luck, but we know that we hold the sway in terms of as the largest party within the government of national unity. There's nothing that can happen without us in this government that we lead of national unity going forward. Kasi broadcast, Zuma has been expelled not by the SG but by the disciplinary committee of the ANC. The job of the SG in terms of the ANC constitution is to announce the decision. I announced the decision of Magashule, I've announced of Jacob Zuma. If he wants to appeal that, he can do it within 21 days. It's a decision. Not even this NEC will object or reject. They've got no locus standi. The matter is closed. Zuma is expelled. He's not a member of the ANC. As we speak, we have moved from suspension to expulsion, and we have followed every step in terms of guided by our constitution. If you want to challenge that, if you want to appeal it, it's within his right. But he's not our member, and we're not going to repeat ourselves about it. It's done. He can lead what he leads at the present moment, which today, by the way, we are challenging it in court. It's our trademark. We'll challenge it till the end. We're in court appealing that decision, erroneous decision of that judge, who even ran away from reading the judgment and gave it to the clerk of the court to read it, and so on. We're challenging that decision because in terms of the trademark law in this country, we've got grounds to challenge that, and we're going for it as we speak now in Durban. Helen Zille, not GNU, a grand coalition. He wanted a grand coalition. She wanted a grand coalition. She came and the DA to the negotiations that we must not talk to the EFF, we must not talk to Zuma Party and all of these other people, PA and so on. We said no. We have signed a statement of intent with 10 political parties, including the DA. So what is she talking about? So we're not going to entertain Helen and what she